Hello everyone and welcome back to some more Warhammer Underworlds for the channel on this very cold, dank, dark winter's morning. And today Skabbik's Plaguepack are back going up against the Headsman's Curse on the battlefield that comes with the Death Gorge box. Still no new warbands from that box, however they will definitely, well, one of them will definitely make an appearance next time because they are almost done on the painting table as I say this. So we'll definitely be seeing the Thricefold Discord next time. But anyway, let's focus on today's match and take a look at the two sides. And here is Skabbik's Plaguepack, the Skaven that just want to spread pestilence and disease, being led by the man himself, that is Skabbik right there, joined by his second, which is Rabidus Skench, and then also, who is this third one? Their name's Itchit. Itchit is the last one exuding gas, and then we've got kind of like their chaff mobs at the front there. We have Ricket, Poxlix, and their mascot Skritter the rat that's carrying around Warpstone Crystal, and they have the corruption mechanic, so if two or more friendly fighters are in a territory or one befouler, and a couple of them have the befouler keyword, are in a territory, at the end of the turn that area becomes corrupted, which is relevant mostly just for their objective cards, doesn't do anything to the enemy force besides that. And here are the Headsman's Curse, being led by the Wielder of the Blade, that I always call Bearer of the Blade because I feel like that flows off the tongue better. But we have the Wielder of the Blade, we have the Scriptor of the Sentence that shouts out accusations, and then we have the Bearer of the Block, and finally the Sharpener of the Blade, the little chain rasp that's probably the easiest to kill, and they'll be looking to gain condemned counters, putting them on the enemy, killing the enemy, and claiming them that way, leading to their Inspire condition. Forgot to cover Skabbik's Plaguepack. They want to corrupt areas as well for objective cards, but also because of their Inspire condition.
This video is sponsored by Noble Knight Games. Check out the video description below for an affiliate link that will take you through to their store, and it will help me out as well. Thanks.
And after that brief word from our channel sponsor, here is both warbands set up, ready to go for round one. And despite setting up first, it is actually Skabbik's Plaguepack that has taken first activation from the Headsman's Curse. All that remains is, for the purposes of you, the viewer, is to see which objective is where. Objective 1, Objective 3, and then up here we have Objective 2, which leaves Objectives 4 and 5, so the two highest numbered ones are over here, with 5 being the one at the top of the table there. I don't think there's anything else to cover, so with that we'll be jumping into round 1, Skabbik's Plaguepack going first. And it was Itchit who got the game started, starting from the left of your screen here and doing a simple move for 4 hexes to the right of your screen and doing nothing else. However, in the power phase, Festering Sneak is being played, which should hopefully be in focus there. Choose a friendly minion, push the chosen minion up to 2 hexes. After the push, they must be adjacent to either an enemy or a friendly leader. But for that, we're going to have to pull out a little bit, come down here to Itchit, because it was, well, sorry, to Skabbik himself, because it was Ricket who started here. He's got the minion keyword, he has been pushed 2 hexes and is now adjacent to his boss. A very simple first activation for the Headsman's Curse. I'm sure you saw it coming if you're familiar with them, seen them played or played them yourself. The Sharpener of the Blade activated and sharpened the Wielder of the Blade. Sharpened Terminus to make it do +1 damage next time he swings it, which means it will be doing 4 damage, which, would that one-shot every single one of them? Yeah, even Skabbik. It would one-shot whoever it lands a hit on, assuming he lands the hit. Well, a disastrous bit of luck for the Headsman's Curse followed when Rabidus Skench activated, doing a charge action, moving around from behind Skabbik here. He had 4 movement, so he made it onto Objective 3 there. He has range 2 on his Sensor Bearer, only rolling 2 dice and needing swords, which isn't great, but if you get that crit, it's awfully hard to avoid. The Scriptor of a Sentence only rolls 1 die, did not get a crit, and as a result he took 3 damage, which actually brings him from healthy to dead. So that is 1 glory gained there already. That glory is being spent on Disgusting Appearance for Rabidus, which is giving him +1 defense die. So that's his reward for getting a glory this early. However, in the power phase, the Headsman's Curse are playing You Must Serve to immediately bring him back. Place a friendly chain rasp that is out of action on a starting hex in your territory, give them a raise counter, and then, because there's 4 or more survivors, they come back vulnerable, i.e. with 1 health remaining. So although the Scriptor did just die, he's returning up here, so he's out of threat radius a little bit, and might actually get to activate, and has 1 hit remaining, so he has a chance to live again. Well, the Scripture of the Sentence was the second activation for the Headsman's Curse, so hopefully he'll at least get to do something before he dies. Making use of that range 3, although he was attacking at range 2, Zealous Accusations, or it's not Zealous, is it? I always call that, no, it's Furious Indictment. 2 dice needing hammers, he managed to get a crit, and did it on, I always forget this one's name, Itchit, who was not able to match the crit. He only takes 1 damage, but more importantly that gives him a condemned token, which might be relevant later, so that is at least something done if the scripter manages to get taken off in round 1 entirely. Third of 4 activations for the Plaguepack was their mascot Skritter, who started down here, has a massive movement though of 5, and did a charge action, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, getting him deep into enemy territory on objective 4. Rolling 2 dice and needing swords, he tried to attack the bear of the block and did nothing. Does that put him in desperate immediate danger, most likely to be killed? Yes it does, but it means if he's getting murdered, 1, he doesn't count for glory when he dies, and 2, it means other people won't be getting picked on instead. So we're at the second last activation of the first round for the Headsman's Curse, and as much as I love the Headsman's Curse, I think this does demonstrate their very all or nothing first turn, because it really does build up to what is the wielder of the blade doing, and are they going to succeed at what they're doing. There was no point with him going after Square because it doesn't count as a kill, so he moved with a charge action 4 to get over to reach Rabidus. Only rolling those 2 dice looking for hammers, he did get 1 success, and he would have been hitting for 4 damage, although his base damage actually would have been enough to kill Rabidus regardless. But Rabidus got a crit in his defense roll, rolling that extra die because of the Disturbing Appearance upgrade he was given, meaning no damage done. And that really swings things against the Headsman's Curse that early, and it does suck if the wielder misses. It's such a shame, and you don't really have the upgrades or cards or anything like that in round 1 to do anything about it. It's really just a straight roll, and that could dictate how the rest of the game goes for them, which is just, it's how they roll. A somewhat anticlimactic final activation for the Plaguepack, not that they need to worry about anything, they're 1 point up already. But Itch activated again and did a second movement action, getting from up on there, on top of objective 5, behind the Scripture of the Sentence. And it's over to the Headsman's Curse for their last activation of the first round, and they need to pull something out. Well, in order to remove him as an annoyance for future rounds, the bearer of the block activated, stayed where he was, turned around and walloped Skritter in the face with that big anvil of his, getting a crit. That is a successful dodge from Skritter, but the crit trumps it obviously. So that would kill him, but Skritter has the worthless rule. If this fighter would be taken out of action, remove it from the battlefield, clear all counters and persisting effects, it is not taken out of action, i.e. it does not count as a kill, it does not count for objective cards, it does not award glory. However, as he dies, Vile Blood is being played by the Plaguepack as a reaction to his death, which is presumably still, actually this says it requires him being out of action. He can't do that on Skritter, never mind. That would not work on Skritter, so sometimes it doesn't work in their favour either, because it says on that card he has to be taken out of action, and Skritter just kind of vanishes, I guess, so never mind. We'll have to see that card later. That would have been a good play for him, but I guess it's like that specifically, so he can't do it. But with the completion of the Bear of the Block's murdering of the rat that just actually kind of vanishes, that takes us to the end of the first round. Let's see if any end phase cards are scoring. So at the end of the first round, things are not going well for the Headsman's Curse, and that's exemplified by the fact that they're scoring nothing. No end phase cards at all. They really needed to kill Rabidus when the wielder of the blade attacked. For Skabbik's Plaguepack though, at the end of that last activation there from the Bear of the Block, they actually should have scored Blessed by Corruption, so we're just covering that now. It's a surge though, but we've taken that into account. Score this immediately after an opponent's activation step if a friendly minion is on an objective in enemy territory. After the Bear of the Block, even though he did remove Skritter from the game, Itchit up here was still on an objective in enemy territory, so that did score for 1 glory. Not only that though, but they're actually also scoring Bringers of Ruination for a massive 3 glory. Score was in the end phase if 3 or more territories are corrupted by your warband. Glorious, unspoiled corruption. Every territory is corrupted. Rabidus is in no man's land and he is a befouler, so that corrupts. Itchit is in enemy territory and he is a befouler, so that is gone, and Skabbik himself is a befouler, but he also has 2 friends here. So home territory is also corrupted. That also means that every single one of them is inspired now as well, and we'll cover where that glory is being spent at the top of round 2. So here we are at the top of round 2 of a total of 3 rounds, and Skabbik's Plaguepack have once again snatched the opportunity to activate first with all of their better stat cards because they're inspired, which is a little worrying for the Headsman's Curse. And they did spend a couple of their glory. They have 2 unspent glory of their total of 5. They bought Voice of the Great Corruptor for Itchit, which is a fun little upgrade for Itchit, that little one who's in enemy territory currently. It makes him a priest, which is a keyword that only Skabbik has to start with. And it means that if Skabbik is killed, he would usurp him and take his place and become leader. And it also gives him access to the action, which would use up a whole action of the 4 you're allowed in a turn. But it would instantly corrupt an area he's in. Right now it doesn't matter though, because everywhere is corrupted until the end of the round. Pox-ridden Lucidity is also being given to Skabbik. It gives him the reaction that if the first time, well, it's a reaction to the first time his successful attack lands, he can either draw a power card or draw an objective card and put one on the bottom of his deck, so it gives him a little bit of cycling, assuming he lands his basic attack, but might as well. That is also because, actually no, it can be given to Ricket, Rabidus or Poxlix. Yeah, so he couldn't get it that way because there is certain cards which are restricted to Priest, and because Voice of the Great Corruptor gives Itchit the Priest keyword, he would then be able to take those, but doesn't matter yet. So for the first activation for Skabbik's Plaguepack in round 2, it was a little Poxlix who started all the way back here, didn't even get an activation in the first turn. He activated now though, to do a movement action, moving 3 of his 4 maximum hexes he can move into this cover hex that's right next to his boss there, and doing nothing else. No power phase cards played by Skabbik's Plaguepack at all. Oh, but there is a card being played by the Headsman's Curse. They are playing Helping Hands, which is hopefully coming into focus there for you now. In the first attack action made by a friendly fighter in the next activation, the attacker is considered to be supported by 1 additional friendly fighter. Many hands make deadly work. So no matter who's around who, they have at least 1 supported fighter, regardless of what happens. Well, he tried to make up for his failings in the first round, and the wielder of the blade succeeded this time around, staying where he was, activating though, and taking a swing at Rabidus. Again with his swords, or big sword rather, although ironically he needs hammers. 2 dice, needing hammers, got a crit. Rabidus did get a successful dodge on one of his 2 because of his upgrade, but that's not enough to dodge the crit, so 3 damage comes down on his head as Terminus cleaves it off and actually does just remove him. So he is out of there for 1 glory, but also a 2nd glory because of Off with Their Heads. Scorbus immediately after a friendly leader's attack action takes an enemy fighter out of action, and you would gain 1 additional glory if they were killing the leader, but obviously Rabidus isn't. That 2 glory is then instantly being spent on 2 upgrades for the wielder of the blade. He's been given Enduring Executor for +1 wounds. That puts him at a massive 6 now because he starts at 5. And he's also being given Death to Mercy, which is basically a dodge this you filthy casual upgrade, because it makes his attacks have ensnare, i.e. dodge results that don't count as successes, and I think all of them rely on dodges. Actually no, they don't. Rabidus does, Skabbik does, Skritter does, and Itchit does. Oh no, sorry, Skabbik needs shields. Skabbik, Poxlix and Ricket are actually all shields, so really it only means now that Rabidus is dead, Itchit has to fear the Executioner easily killing him, but that does matter because Itchit is the one with the Condemned token, and at least they're finally on the board now as well. And speaking of Itchit, he was up 2nd for the Plaguepack, staying where he was, but swinging that little Censor Bearer. Is it Censor Bearer he's equipped with? Plague Burner. 2 dice needing daggers, but he got that crit. They've been rolling so many crits, and that means that with a fail on the defense roll from the Scriptor of Ascends, he is once again out of there and has given up another glory, with no power cards being played by either side after that. So we'll cover the second activation for the Headsman's Curse in round 2 in a moment. I forgot to mention though, when the wielder of the blade killed Rabidus, they did gain some Condemned tokens. I think they gained 2 actually because of his upgrade, meaning that he was counting as supported. Let's see. After a friendly fighter's attack action takes an adjacent target out of action, gain 1 condemned token for each of the following that is true. So you don't just gain 1 by default. The attack action was supported, the target was a large fire. So he did count as supported because of that card play, the Helping Hands. So they do have 1 condemned token in the bank. With the scripter gone though, it's probably not going to matter. But just covering that. So anyway, Bear of the Block did a charge action coming up here into this cover hex and trying to finish off Itchit with a roll which did have a crit. He was looking for hammers though, so sadly this is not a success. And Itchit rolled a crit for his defense. The Skaven just can't stop rolling crits. So no damage done there at all. Well, the Plaguepack are having very quick turns. Ricket activated and did a move. I've forgotten even where he was. I think he was behind Skabbik up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. He should be there if he was. Can't quite remember. Actually, I think it was there, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So he just did a move action right down to the bottom of the table there. He doesn't have the Befouler keyword, but if him and Itchit, well, Itchit has the Befouler keyword by default. If Itchit were to die, that area would not stay corrupted for the next turn, because there would need to be 2 of them, unless Skabbik follows them in, of course. Second last activation of the second round for the Headsman's Curse was the Sharpener of the Blade, and he did a charge action from just down here off screen up to the square here, and he attacked Itchit. 2 dice, needing swords for a single point of damage, and with support as well from the Bearer of the Block. And he managed to get through with 2 successes versus 1 fail for 1 damage, but that does not kill Itchit because he has 3 health. So, and he had 1 damage already from the scripture of the sentence. But that is his second point of damage, so he's at least getting there. And a little bit of movement shenanigans followed for the final action in round 2 for Skabbik's Plaguepack. Skabbik activated, did a move action from where he was, directly onto Objective 3. He then played Unctuous Citations in the power phase, which allows him and also a minion to be pushed 1 hex. He pushed himself down, and also, which one is this? Poxlix? Yep, he was pushed away from the cover hex, but into no man's land as well. And he's got the priest keyword, so he's allowed to use that. And upon ending his activation, he instantly scored Scuttling Horde. Score this immediately after your Warband's 3rd or successive move action in the same phase, which they did. So that's what they were. That's the Skaven ploy revealed for an extra point, putting them up to 7. And final activation of the second round for the Headsman's Curse was the Wielder of the Blade doing a charge action from where he was. Up here, he had to make sure Itchit died. Double support, which means both of these are successes, one of which being a crit. Itchit did not roll any successes and has been eviscerated by Terminus as it splits him in twain, and also because he was supported when he did that attack, that actually does gain them their 2nd condemned token. If they manage to scrape another one, they will all inspire, which would help them out a bunch. And with that, we're into the end phase of the second round. So at the end of round 2, there is actually a little bit of a comeback for the Headsman's Curse, because the Plaguepack are not scoring any additional cards. They are still ahead with 7, but the Headsman's Curse are crawling back by scoring 2 Basket of Bonces and Judge lest ye be judged. Here is Basket of Bonces. Score this in the end phase if 2 or more enemy fighters are out of action, with Rabidus and Itchit going down because Square doesn't count. That is scored for 1. Judge lest ye be judged. Score this in the end phase if each surviving friendly fighter has 1 or more move and or charge tokens, which they do also have. So that plus the 1 for killing Itchit puts them up to 5. So they're only trailing by 2 as we go into the final round to see who wins. So here we are at the top of the 3rd and final round, and the Headsman's Curse have managed to snatch first activation, but let's just cover some glory spend at the end of the last turn. Vile Fanaticism and Noxious Vapours are both being put on Skabbik. He's buffing himself up something fierce. So this is +1 die to this fighter's range 1 or range 2 attack actions unless they have Scything, and Noxious Vapours means at the end of the game, at this point, deal 1 damage to each enemy fighter that is adjacent to him. So it might be a chance to just snatch a quick kill right at the end of the game for him there. The Headsman's Curse are also spending 2 glory on upgrades. Ethereal Immunity is being given to the Wielder of the Blade, just to mean that double successes can never double successes are successes for his defense rolls. I did it again. Double supports. There we go. Support successes. Very similar words if you don't think about it too hard. And heavy duty is being given to the bearer of the block. +1 damage to his range 1 and range 2 attack actions. Simple as that. So with that, let's get to activating some miniatures. So the final round got started with the Headsman's Curse activating the wielder of the blade, who did a charge action round a little bit in an awkward half circle to go after Poxlix, attacking him and getting a crit. So the shoe's on the other foot, as it were, because he whiffed his defense roll and has been eviscerated off the table for 1 glory, taking them to 6, so they're trailing by 1. Vile Blood is being played though as a reaction to that. Play this during an enemy fighter's range 1 or range 2 attack action after the deal damage step if the target would be taken out of action. -1 damage to a minimum of 1 from that enemy fighter's range 1 and range 2 attack actions. This effect persists until the enemy fighter is taken out of action or they make a successful range 1 or range 2 attack action. So essentially for the rest of the round the wielder of the blade is dealing 2 damage, or 3 if he gets sharpened I guess, because that Vile Blood is affecting him until he's either dead or he's landed a hit. Oh, unfortunately for the Headsman's Curse, with the completion of that activation, Spreading Filth actually scores for Skabbik's Plaguepack. Score this immediately after an opponent's activation step if there is 1 or more friendly fighters in 2 or more territories. Skabbik is in No Man's Land and Ricket is in enemy territory. Oh, and one or more enemy fighters are out of action, which the descriptor of the sentence is. So yeah, that takes them up to 8. Oh, as an additional thing forgotten after the wielder of the blade's turn in the power phase, Scapegoat is being played on Skabbik, which gives him 5 wounds instead of 4. It staggers him and also means that he gets given a condemned token. Now that doesn't inspire them because they need to actually claim it, but it does make him worth 2 glory if he dies, so they toughen up somebody just to try and get more benefit out of killing them. That probably won't happen, but they're going for broke. Well, it's a little bit cowardly, but they are Skaven. Skabbik activated for his Plaguepack, just did a move action down here into the corner. He knows he's worth points, he knows they're winning, so he's just, he's hiding. They are working towards scoring things, but he's mostly also trying to work on denial, because they don't need to score anything if the Headsman's Curse earn nothing. Oh, they're not out of the woods yet, though, as the bearer of the block activates and does a charge action. He walked around the lethal hex there to come down next to Skabbik, taking a swing at him, needing hammers and getting 2 of them. And normally he'd just be dealing 2 damage, and Skabbik failed his defense roll. But because of that heavy duty upgrade he purchased, also apologies for the car alarm in the background, he does 3 damage. Now Skabbik currently has 5 health, so he still has 2 left. So he's still in a good place technically, because only the sharpener of the blade can move and attack. So it's unlikely they're going to be able to chip off that last 2 damage, but I guess we'll see. Well, Skabbik went on a merry walkabout, doing a second move action to run away back over here, and then during the power phase, because he has the priest keyword, placed Pestilent Blessing on to Ricket, which means that he has Grievous on his attacks, and he counts as a Befouler, although did he anyway? No, he didn't. So he has the Befouler keyword as well, which might be relevant for end phase scores. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to chase down Skabbik. The Sharpener of the Blade just did a move action because he can't do a charge since there's no one to attack within his 4 hex range. So he stopped there just to have support from the wielder of the blade, but they're not going to be able to get Skabbik because at best he could do a move and that's it, unfortunately. So really they can't do anything else. So it's just down to whether or not Skabbik's Plaguepack wants to do anything that would result in them potentially scoring something. And then that'll take us to the end of the game with the result more or less already kind of set in stone. So looking at all the options available to them, with Skabbik already having move tokens so he can't do a charge, there's literally really only one thing that can be done that doesn't have a consequence necessarily, and that would be doing a charge with Ricket to here just to attack the Sharpener of the Blade, because he would actually do enough damage to kill him. If he doesn't kill him, the returning blow he would get back isn't enough to kill him either. So we'll probably quickly resolve that, just see if it's going to be 1 more glory scored, but then that will be it. Yep, and of course it did. He was looking for swords, he got those and a crit, and the 2 defense dice that the Sharpener gets to wield were, well, 1 success, but can't beat a crit. So he is indeed out of there, and did give up at the last second 1 more glory, and that's going to take us to a very quick end phase. So in the end phase, the Headsman's Curse could have cycled an objective card, so done that quickly. It isn't changing a thing. They aren't scoring any additional cards. Corrupting the land will score for Skabbik's Plaguepack, though. They just, the stream of crits they were rolling could not be defeated. Scorbus in the end phase if no man's land or enemy territory are corrupted. And Skabbik is indeed befouling this area right here for an additional 1. And that does take us to the end of the game with Skabbik's Plaguepack scoring 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 to the Headsmen's 2, 4, 6. They just got real unlucky. And that is going to do it for another showing of Warhammer Underworlds on the channel. As I said at the top of the video, you will definitely be seeing one of the warbands from Death Gorge next time, the Thricefold Discord, because they're basically done on the painting table. So we'll be seeing how the Celestian Demons do. I'm not sure who up against, but we'll definitely be seeing those. This time around, if the Wield of the Blade had taken out Rabidus turn 1, that would have scored a couple of cards that would have given them a 2-point swing. I think they were both worth 1, but it's all or nothing with them. If the wielder misses, you're just done. You've got to try and buff them up as much as possible, and just didn't get those particular cards. Their ending hand was just awful. They didn't have anything worth getting. They had All Rise, they had Tools of Death. Granted, they scored, it would have been worth tons, and the card they drew into when cycling their objective deck at the end there was the Triumph of Death. They would have had to have killed Ricket for that to be scoreable, because they needed 1 or fewer enemies remaining. Granted, and it would have been worth 3. But the Sharpener of the Blade obviously got taken out, and you can't attack, you can't do an additional charge action if you already have one. So it wouldn't. It did in that way, I guess. If the wielder could have attacked again, there was a chance that they could have pulled back those 3 points, which actually would have made it a draw, I think. Yeah, because it would have been also +1 for getting the kill. So yeah, it would have been a draw. So it was a bit closer than it might appear in that regard, but against a sea of crits, there's only so much you can do, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. At least it was quick for them, if nothing else. And they got so close to getting that 3rd Condemned token, if only the scripter hadn't been picked on. But that's the way it goes. Thank you very much for watching. Look forward to seeing the Thricefold Discord next time. And until then, thank you again, and enjoy your Christmas and New Year. Ta-ta for now.